The scruffy-looking fellow, with his rattling sword and ill-assorted clothes, even though barefoot, has the air of a soldier, and his name is Balthasar Matus, otherwise known as Setisus, or Seven Sons. He was dismissed from the army when he was of no further use, once his left hand was amputated at the wrist after being shattered by gunfire at Jerez de los Caballeros. In the ambitious campaign we fought last October with 11,000 men, only to end with the loss of 200 of our soldiers and the rout of the survivors, who were pursued by the Spanish cavalry dispatched from Badajoz. We withdrew to Olivencia with the booty we had taken in Barracota, feeling much too downhearted to enjoy it, gaining little by the 10 leagues march there, and then making a rapid retreat over the same distance, only to leave behind on the battlefield so many casualties and the shattered hand of Balthasar Setisus. By great good fortune, or by the special grace of the scapular he was wearing around his neck, his wound did not become gangrenous, nor did they burst his veins with the force of the tourniquet applied to stop the bleeding, and, thanks to the surgeon's skill, it was only a matter of disarticulating the man's tendons without having to cut through the bone with a handsaw. The stump was treated with medicinal herbs, and Setisus had such healthy flesh that after 2 months the wound was completely healed. Having saved little or nothing of his soldier's pay, Setisus begged for alms in Evora till he had enough money to pay the blacksmith and the saddler for an iron hook to replace his hand. This was how he spent the winter, putting aside half of the money he managed to collect, reserving half of the other half for the journey ahead, and spending the rest on food and wine. It was already spring by the time he had paid off the final installment he owed the saddler and collected the iron hook as well as a spike he had ordered, because Balthasar Setisus fancied the idea of having an alternative left hand. Crafted leather fittings were skillfully attached to the tempered iron, and there were 2 straps of different lengths to attach the implements to the elbow and shoulder for greater support. Setisus began his journey when it was rumored that the garrison at Beira was to remain there instead of coming to the assistance of the troops at Alentejo, where there was an even greater shortage of food than in the other provinces. The army was in tatters, barefoot and reduced to rags. The soldiers pilfered from the farmers and refused to go on fighting. A considerable number went over to the enemy, while many others deserted, traveling off the beaten track, looting in order to eat, raping any woman they encountered on the way, in short, taking their revenge on innocent people who owed them nothing and shared their despair. Setisus, maimed and bedraggled, traveled the main highway to Lisbon, deprived of his left hand, part of which had remained in Spain and part in Portugal, and all because of a strategic war to decide who was to occupy the Spanish throne, an Austrian Charles or a French Philip, but no one Portuguese, whether unimpaired or one-handed, intact or mutilated, unless to leave severed limbs or lost lives behind on the battlefield is not only the destiny of soldiers who have nothing but the ground to sit on. Setisus left Evora and passed through Montemor, accompanied by neither friar nor demon, for when it came to extending a begging hand, the one he possessed was sufficient.